So, you're thinking of moving to Cambodia? And whether you're thinking of escaping the 9 to 5, tired of paying half your salary on rent every month, or maybe you just want to swap the grey skies for tropical sunshine, you've probably got a few questions. Like, how easy is the visa situation? How much does rent actually cost? And can you really live here without spending a small fortune? So in this video I'm going to cover the 4 basics when it comes to moving to Cambodia. So let's start with the first section. So we'll start with visas, because Cambodia's visa situation is refreshingly simple and super easy. Unlike some countries that make you jump through endless hoops just to stay longer than a few weeks, Cambodia is one of the easiest places in Southeast Asia to get a long-term visa, and the whole process is pretty straightforward too. So what most people do is arrive on an ordinary visa, which is what the visa's actually called, and then extend it once they're in the country. You can get an extension for 1, 3, 6 or 12 months. The different options are for workers, business owners, retirees, and even people whose main occupation appears to be sitting in cafes with a laptop every day. And the entire process itself is often handled completely through visa agents, meaning you could spend more time enjoying Cambodia and less time standing in government offices wondering if you're in the right line. But that doesn't mean you should completely ignore the rules, of course. Visa regulations can change, and it's always smart to check the latest requirements before making the move. Because in this part of the world they like to change the rules randomly, so it's just best practice to always double check. But compared to many countries that seem determined to make residency as difficult as possible, Cambodia remains one of the easiest places in Southeast Asia for foreigners who want to stay longer than just a holiday. The visa agency I used in Siem Reap is called Cam Smile Visa Service. So if you're in Siem Reap, you can use them, since they did everything for me with no issues, including a work permit if you need one of them too, and they'll even tell you if you need one at all, so don't stress about that. Super simple, and they do all the paperwork. You just have to make sure to enter the country on the ordinary visa, aka the E-Class visa. It's the same thing, and you can apply for that online before you arrive, on their official website, or get it on arrival at the airport. But if you do that, make sure to have dollars ready to pay for it, in person, then and there. Also, the biggest mistake most expats make is entering on the tourist visa, which you do get 30 days on, but you can only extend it once for another 30 days after that, so 60 days total. And if you do that, you'll have to do a border run to switch to the right visa to stay long term anyway. So once you arrive on the correct visa, all you need to do is head to a visa agency, and they'll handle everything for you. You just hand over your passport, pay the fee, and magically receive a new visa a week later. And yes, it really is that easy. Plus, that agency I mentioned earlier offered a full refund if, for whatever reason, your visa was refused, which is always nice to hear. Now, let's move on to rent, because rent is one of those things that sounds like a scam when you first hear the prices. You start browsing apartments expecting big city prices, and then suddenly you're looking at a modern 1-bedroom apartment with a pool, gym, 24-hour security, and a balcony big enough to host a family barbecue, all for far less than you'd expect. Of course, there are levels to this game. If you want a simple local apartment, you can spend surprisingly little, spending something like $200 to $300 a month. But if you want a luxury condo with rooftop infinity pools and a lobby where you can smell the expensive candles, you'll end up paying more. But still not enough to trigger a panic attack. So that's another win. And the location matters too, because living in the centre of Phnom Penh and Siem Reap puts you close to restaurants, cafes, nightlife, and enough tuk-tuks to make you wonder if anybody actually owns a car. But if you head a little bit farther outside the centre, prices usually drop, while the actual apartment sizes double in space. It's one of the few places where moving 10 minutes away can make your apartment feel like it's been promoted. It's really just up to you, if you want the better location or the bigger apartment for the same price. Or if you're willing to spend a bit more than that, you can just get both and end up with the perfect apartment. What a shame. Also, a bonus is that many rentals come fully furnished, which means you can arrive with one suitcase and immediately begin your new career as a professional sunset watcher. But just remember to check what's included. Some places include water, internet and cleaning into the actual renting price, while others charge separately. The websites I used while browsing myself were realestate.com.kh and IPS Cambodia, and once I spoke to a couple property agents, they started sending me other apartments they have listed for around the same renting price. So I definitely recommend doing just that, and going to view them in person, ask all the questions you need to ask, to make sure the property is the right fit for you. You can even stay in a hotel or Airbnb for the first few days, while you view rental properties. Just don't rush, because the last thing you want is to sign a lease, and realise you don't like the location, or the layout, or maybe even the place itself. So just a little patience at the start can definitely save you time, money, and help you find a place that actually feels like home. Now, let's move on to food, because food is when your budget starts feeling like it's already on vacation. You can grab tasty local meals for just a few dollars each, and before long you'll even stop converting everything back into your home currency. because the answer is always, wait, that's it? And then suddenly you find yourself ordering extra drinks, fancy desserts, and side dishes simply because you can afford to. Plus the local cuisine is packed with flavourful soups, so many noodle dishes, all the rice plates, grilled meats, and enough fresh herbs to make you feel healthier than you actually are. And street food is everywhere, so you'll never be struggling to find food, and that's before I even mention the local food markets. Also, if you're worried about missing food from home, don't be. Phnom Penh and other major cities have everything from burgers and pizzas to Korean barbecue, Japanese sushi, Indian curries, and cafes that look like they were designed specifically for Instagram and serve all the Western hipster meals you can think of. Also, you can eat local every day and save a fortune, or spend a bit more for food more familiar to you and still feel like you're getting away with something. The biggest danger isn't the cost, it's the convenience. Food delivery apps make it alarmingly easy to have nearly any type of food you'd ever want, with also enough snacks to survive a minor apocalypse, all delivered directly to your door. And it's worth mentioning a common theme among many expats here is that they arrive planning to cook healthy meals every night, but by their second week here they end up becoming full-time supporters of the local delivery driver economy. And that's me included some nights. I mean, the deals they offer on apps like Grab make it silly not to take advantage of them every now and again. I mean, $2 with free delivery for a decently sized portion of beef lok lak. I mean, I'll take that any day I don't feel like cooking dinner or going out to grab something. So if you eat like a local, it's entirely possible to spend just $2 to $4 per meal, while the Western restaurants usually cost somewhere between $6 to $12. So they're obviously a little bit more, but that's to be expected really. Then you have fresh fruit shakes that are often $1 to $2, and local coffee starts at around $1. Plus, shopping at the local markets can help keep your grocery bill surprisingly low, if you want to cook some meals yourself, that is. And I'd say if you want a good mix of local food and Western meals, a budget anywhere between $200 to $300 a month is more than enough to eat out pretty much every meal, if not every single meal, and not even have to cook yourself ever again. So whether you're on a tight budget or you enjoy eating out most days, Cambodia gives you plenty of options without draining your wallet too fast. And that's something you'll appreciate long after the honeymoon phase of moving here wears off. And finally, let's talk about bills, because in Cambodia, they're pretty reasonable actually. I mean, internet is pretty affordable and surprisingly fast. You'll definitely be pleasantly surprised with the speeds, trust me. So working remotely is easy. And that's even more so when your office happens to be a rooftop pool overlooking the city. But the bill that catches most newcomers by surprise is electricity, because Cambodia is hot, like really hot. The kind of hot where you step outside and immediately regret your decision to go outside altogether. As a result, your air conditioner quickly transforms from a luxury item into a life support machine, which you absolutely need to survive. And if you run it all day and night, don't be surprised if your electricity bill lands somewhere between $40 to $80 a month. Then the water bill is usually quite low at around $5 a month. Plus, many apartments actually include services like garbage collection, security, building maintenance, Wi-Fi, all in the monthly rent anyway, which helps keep the list of surprise expenses relatively short. And the good news is that your monthly bills are usually pretty manageable, with mobile data plans that can cost as little as $10 a month, home internet that is typically $10 to $20 if it's not already included in your rent, drinking water with delivery often again $5 to $15 a month, and transportation can be between $25 to $50 a month, of course depending on how many tuk-tuks you actually take. But electricity is usually the biggest variable of them all, as I mentioned earlier. Plus, even with all your essentials covered, most expats do find their monthly bills are significantly lower than what they pay back home anyway, which leaves more room in the budget to actually enjoy living in Cambodia. So, is Cambodia the right place for you? Well, that really depends on what you're looking for, but if you've made it this far into the video, then I'm guessing you're at least slightly interested, which is always how it starts. And if you plan to make the move, hopefully you found this video guide helpful for the 4 basics, and if you did, make sure to leave a like. But if you need more of an in-depth guide that includes everything mentioned here with more detail, as well as what the best cities to live in are, a full cost of living breakdown, mistakes expats make so you don't have to, how the healthcare works, how to actually find a place to live, and a complete step-by-step move to Cambodia blueprint, as well as more. Pretty much everything I could think of that you'd want to know before moving to Cambodia, then feel free to check out the link in the description to my Move to Cambodia guide. But that's it for today, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.